There are plenty of things you can expect to see on Pawn Stars when you pop on an episode or two, as they get all kinds of classic items that you would expect from sports items, historical properties, and even really epic cars. But in regards to the automobiles they've seen, you have to look closer when they pull up. After all, it's easy to sell a lemon car, and then for the rarer ones, you have to see if there's a big market for them at the prices that the sellers are usually asking. So what are some of the rarest cars the Pawn Stars have seen? We'll break it down for you. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. 5. Rick's high school car. We're going to start off this list with a little bit of a twist because Rick Harrison has seen some great cars over the years, but there are some cars that are classic to him for reasons of a more personal nature. In one episode, friend and customer Danny decided to pull a fast one on Rick in the best way possible. At the time, Rick was about to get married and Danny decided to give him one heck of a birthday present. Yep. That's right, he got Rick's old high school car in a unique Volkswagen and then decided to shine it up real nice so that it would knock his socks off when he found out it was a wedding present. Adding to the hilarity of the situation was the fact that Rick, during the exchange with Danny, felt that the latter had snaked the car out from under him. Oh yeah, he thought Danny was there to rub it in his face what he did. And yet the guy had the best intentions with Rick. And as he noted and showed, his team went and overhauled the look of the Volkswagen in the best way so that Rick would feel like he was getting a rock star of a car. He even asked Rick what he thought of the ride before dropping the bombshell on him. And Rick did give it, though you can see it's quite reluctantly because he wishes he got the car and did this with it. Which is a good thing because Danny said it's for him and Rick was really taken aback by it. He even hugged Danny and said he loved him. When was the last time we saw Rick Harrison do that on camera? Exactly.
Oh, I love you, man. I'm gonna make her love it.
So yeah, a really cool moment, wouldn't you say? Rick got his high school ride. As weird a choice as it was, and a heartwarming moment was had on Pawn Stars. Winners all the way around.
You would like this, bro.
Well, I would have liked it if you didn't steal it out from under me.
I didn't steal nothing. I didn't steal nothing.
So you just sort of came over to rub it in my face?
I wouldn't say rub it in your face. I just wanted to show off to you because we put a lot of work into it since the last time you saw it, man.
4. 68 Mustang Fastback GT. Okay, if you had some reservations about the last car because it wasn't exactly a classic in the overall sense, we got you covered on this next one because we're talking about a Mustang, one of the all-time classic brands for automobiles. And when Rick and Corey got to the vehicle itself, you could see that one of them was happy about it, and the other wasn't. Rick knew the history of this car, as did the owner, as a car like this was the one that Steve McQueen used to drive, and that made it historically relevant in various ways. As Rick tells Corey, this was the quintessential muscle car, meaning one that was all about power and not exactly about being economically friendly as we often have with cars today. It also helped that the movie Bullitt helped make cars like this famous. And because of that, Rick knew there were plenty of people who would buy the car despite the less than ideal condition it was in.
Steve McQueen was one of the biggest movie stars of the 60s and the 70s. I'm a huge fan, and it's not just me. There's a ton of diehard McQueen fans out there that I could sell this to. I want it.
He also did the smart thing and brought in Danny to look at it as the owner wanted $100,000 for the ride. The good news for Rick was that not only was it a genuine version of the car, but the value of it was much less than the owner wanted, about $12–15K. That meant it'd be much less of a strain on Rick's wallet. Eventually they landed on $5K, but the story wasn't done there. Danny later took the car and rebuilt it from the ground up and put an ungodly amount of effort and detail into the car to make it shine. Rick and the crew were blown away by Danny's work, further showing that this was a car that was worth the purchase.
What's up, Jen?
My God, man. That thing is amazing.
3. 1963 Lincoln Continental. We're going to shift gears a little bit and talk about another restoration job that was done by Danny and his crew. But it wasn't for Rick this time. Rather, it was for Chumley. Yep, Chumley had gotten his hands on a rare 1963 Lincoln Continental and gave it to Danny for a full restoration job. The problem was that the job wasn't easy, as one of his guys botched the prep work for the paint, and that set them back a bit as they had to start over from scratch. Oh, and that guy was fired, just to be clear. All in all, it took 2 years for Danny to rebuild the car, but he was absolutely pumped about the final result.
Just give me a minute to look at this pretty smile and that beautiful reflection.
Chumley was equally taken aback, especially by the paint job, where he could literally see his reflection as he smiled at it. It's this kind of work that shows why the Pawn Stars kept going back to Danny for work on cars, because when you have this kind of restoration ability, why wouldn't you go to a guy who's literally willing to do it all? As for what the car's fate was to be, Chumley admitted he wanted to get it on the internet and flip it, and we can understand why he might feel that way.
This 63 Continental needed everything. We stripped this car down and we worked every inch, completely overhauled the engine and transmission, gave it a brand new all-black interior, all new chrome, custom 22-inch wire wheels, and topped it all off with a mirror finish black paint job that is simply stunning. She's sexy.
2. 1967 Shelby GT 350. How about another movie car to further highlight just how lucky the Pawn Stars crew is? Rick got another chance to get a rare care when he was shown the 1967 Shelby GT 350 that was used in the movie Gone in 60 Seconds, aka the Eleanor.
You gotta be kidding me. Shelby GT 350, Gone in 60 Seconds, the movie. It's Eleanor, I get it.
Not to mention, the car had a great historical value from a car standpoint, as it wasn't just a cool car of the 60s. But Shelby had to basically take a Ford Mustang and modify it over 100 times to get the car that they felt would be even cooler. If you look at Rick's response to it, you can see that he was indeed blown away by the coolness factor. Rick was even able to do a test drive of the car after he brought an expert in. That might sound like Rick was just trying to get behind the wheel, but the expert was adamant that this needed to be done, and they promised not to break it, which they thankfully didn't. After some negotiations, a deal was reached at $100,000, and Rick was thrilled.
It's a solid car, runs and drives good, so I'd say anywhere between $100,000 to $110,000. I appreciate you letting us take it for a nice, easy meander down the road.
I appreciate what you said, and we'll talk and we'll see how it
you
goes.
got a great car, man. Great car,
I appreciate
Rick.
it. Thanks so much.
See you soon,
Good luck,
man.
buddy.
I think it's a great car, and I rarely do this, but I'm not going to negotiate. I will give you $100,000.
1. 2014 Hertz Penske GT Mustang. One final car for the road, what do you say? This time around, we have a tale of a rare 2014 Hertz Penske GT Mustang that a customer drove down to the shop one day for a high-stakes deal. The car came from Hertz's Rent-A-Racer program, which partnered up with Roger Penske in 2014 to create 150 of these limited edition vehicles. Not only was the car one of those 150, it was one of the first 10 built, was a 6-speed manual, and it had never been rented, leaving it in pristine condition. The seller was asking $85,000 with a private threshold of $60,000 as his lowest acceptable offer. Rick Harrison brought in an expert, which was the smart thing to do as it was a very new car, but he didn't bring in one of his usual crowd, oh no. He instead brought in legendary NASCAR driver Joey Logano to check it out. And he was more than happy to help him take the car to a racetrack to test drive it at high speed. All said and done, Logano valued the car at around $75,000. The Pawn Star took everything into consideration and offered $60,000, sticking to his guns through a series of counteroffers. The customer finally caved and dropped to his lowest acceptable price. The Pawn Stars made a good deal on this one and actually ended up selling the vehicle for $85,000.
I'll write you a check for $60,000, and it'll even be good. But that's what I could do.
I'll do it.
So altogether, they made a $20,000 profit. So they know how to buy cars, restore cars, and sell cars. That's why they're the Pawn Stars. And there you have it, everyone. A look at the times when the Pawn Stars got some really sweet-looking rides coming into their shop and the deals that got done with them. Which of these rides did you feel was the coolest of the bunch? Do you remember seeing the episodes with them when they first premiered? What do you think was the best car deal that the Pawn Stars ever did? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the channel.